Hello and welcome to the Playbook 11 podcast out of the 2025 Indian Premier League clash between the Chennai Super Kings and the Kolkata Knight Riders. We're here to preview the Dream11 contest to help you win some cash. I'm your host, Tim Williams, and here to do it with me, as always, Cricket Australia commentator Max Bryden. Maxie, how are you, my friend?
G'day, Timmy. I'm doing very well, mate. I wish my Sunrisers were doing a little bit better. I think being an Australian over here, like you sort of follow multiple teams for different reasons. I love Sunrisers. I love KKR. I'm very happy to talk about KKR this year, today actually. But yeah, just wish they were doing a little bit better on the ladder. But mate, it's been a good season so far, the IPL.
Absolute cracker, mate. Plenty of time to do it. And as you said, KKR, they come into the Playbook 11 for the first time this season. Today, former New Zealand international turned superstar commentator Simon Doull, duly a regular part of the Playbook 11 team in this show, has recently had his first child. So we wish him the best. He's unavailable today as a result of being on daddy duty. So he'll be back in coming weeks to preview the rest of the IPL season with the Dream 11 contest. Guys, for those new to the show, what are we here to do at Playbook 11? We're here to provide Dream 11 analysis across the 2025 Indian Premier League tournament. We began our previews across the Aussie summer with plenty of success across the Australia versus India Test Series and the Big Bash League. Now we want to do the same with the Indian Premier League. If you enjoy the show, guys, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and let us know in the comments if you agree or disagree with any of our selections, maybe what you would have done differently. Now, Maxi, we're here to preview, as I said, the Chennai Super Kings versus Kolkata Knight Riders clash. CSK, they're in ninth spot with a 1-4 record, a disappointing start to the tournament for them. And KKR, they're in sixth, doing a little better with a 2-3 record. Let's get into the predicted teams, mate. What are you expecting at CSK?
Well, look, the hot tip here, I guess, with CSK is that they're looking still for that winning formula. An unfortunate injury to their captain, Gaikwad, who's been ruled out for the rest of the tournament as well. Could see a little bit of a shake-up. CSK, they've been trying to figure out that fourth international spot as well. But the lineup I'm expecting from them at the moment, opening the batting, a couple of Kiwis in Rachin Ravindra and Devon Conway. At number 3, I'm picking Tripathi to come in for the spot that was Gaikwad's. Shivam Dubey, Vijay Shankar, Ravi Jadeja at number 6. MS Dhoni's been floating around that batting order. He's just been named skipper as well today, so he could bat as high as number 5 in this lineup. Ravi Ashwin, Noor Ahmed, one of my favourite players. Mukesh Chowdhury, he's also coming to the lineup. And Keel Ahmed, he has been on fire with the ball. The impact sub, I'm expecting to see Patarana from Sri Lanka as well. Over at KKR, opening the batting, Quinton de Kock, he's been a little bit quiet by standards, particularly after opening the tournament with a 97. And his regular opening partner will be Sunny Nareen. Jinx Rahane, the skipper at number 3, he's having a hell of a tournament. Venki Iyer, Ramandeep Singh, Raghavashni, Andre Russell, Rinku Singh, Harshit Rana. Vaibhav has been sneaky good as well so far this tournament. The Aussie Spencer Johnson at number 11 and Varun Chakravarti. He's been the impact sub the last couple of games, the mystery spinner. Again, one of my favourite players. As you can tell, I love my spinners. And that's how I'm seeing these two teams line up for this game.
Yes, I love disappointing about Gaikwad. I love the quote from Stephen Fleming around the new captaincy. We have an uncapped player, MS Dhoni, who will take over as captain for the remainder of the IPL. So great chat from Stephen Fleming there. Now, mate, the deck expectations in Chennai, the past 3 games, scores of 183 and 158, 196 and 146, 155 and 158. 164 is the average first innings score. A ground that offers plenty for both batters and bowlers. Probably not as high scoring as we've seen some of the other venues in the tournament. 41 wickets have fallen so far across those 3 games in Chennai, the last 3 games, that is. It is that clearly an under 200 type surface, differs to a few others. It's a slower deck there. The spinners are doing quite well. We know Noor Ahmed, the leading wicket taker in the IPL thus far, having an absolute field day. Not an easy wicket to bat on. You almost want some of the, it sounds silly to say, but some of the more quality, proven batsmen, some more probably traditional stroke players rather than those cowboys who try to hit it out of the ground, because it can be tricky at times. So yeah, as we said, plenty in it for both bat and ball, and particularly the spinners on this occasion. Maxi, the stats that matter for this contest, what have you found for us?
Thanks, Timmy, mate. Before I get into that, when you talk about your own cricketing style, are you more cowboy or traditional when it comes to your batting?
I'm a lot more traditional than cowboy, mate, but I'll be honest, the older I've gotten, the less cricket I've played. that temperament has sort of gone out the window. And I won't say I've gone Jake Fraser McGurk, but the patience is dwindling a little bit when I do get the rare opportunity to get to the crease these days, but much more traditional in the past. Maxie, what about yourself? You'd be traditional for sure.
Yeah, mate. Look, I would love to claim either title, but I can't bat to save my life. So let's just stick with bowling. And jumping into the stats that matter, I'm going to talk about a bowler first and foremost, the number 11, and that is the number of wickets that Noor Ahmed has taken so far to lead the competition. We spoke about him last time we previewed CSK, and he's still getting the job done for them, the Afghani. I think he's going to be a player who's super popular in Dream11. The next number, 153, which is, of course, the strike rate for their new skipper. You might have heard of him. He's an uncapped player, but it's MS Dhoni. He's only got a high score of 30 so far this season, but the runs that he has scored, they're coming at a good clip. And with the extra responsibility, I mean, there was a couple of games ago he was batting as low as 8 or 9, but I wonder if we'll see him float higher in the order now that he has taken back the captain's armband.
Yeah.
The next number I've got is number 39, which is the bowling strike rate for Ravi Jadeja. Now, a guy who we normally associate with being world-class all-rounder, scores runs, bowls tight, fields fantastically, and almost an automatic selection when it comes to fantasy. Only taking a wicket, it's almost getting out there, like one every 2 games. So good economy rate as what you expect, but just not taking the wickets, which is where the points are in Dream 11. So is this a trend, or is Ravi Jadeja a little bit on the nose when it comes to fantasy cricket? The next number I've got is 12, which is, of course, the amount of sixes that Jinx Rahane has hit for the tournament, the 4th most of any player in the tournament. And again, most Aussies watching this will sit here and say, do you mean Jinx Rahane, that really dour number 3 test batsman, probably striking at about 30 or 40 in test match cricket? Well, he has been electric so far, 184 runs for the tournament. I think the fact as well that he knows these conditions at the stadium for CSK so well, despite showing up for the opposition, could be a very interesting selection for this tournament. And the final number I've got for you is 6.3, which is the amount of overs that Dre Russ has bowled this entire tournament. Now, people have been questioning this one basically since it started, especially because within those 6.3 overs, he's taken 5 wickets. His bowling strike rate is just 7.8, which is a wicket every 7.8 deliveries. But he's fully fit. He's just not really being used by the skipper so far. Is there an opportunity to hope that he increases the bowling workload, or is this just who Dre Russ is these days? Much known for his batting, but they are the stats that matter, Timmy.
Fantastic stuff as always, Max. And yeah, Dre Rush, Jadeja, they cause a few Dream 11 headaches, don't they? Because they're these potential Dream 11 just like must-have players in your squad, but how many are they going to bowl? They're 2 overs, 1 overs. They're effective when they do. They're often economical, particularly Jadeja. Batting down the order, Jadeja. It's hit or miss, mate, and it can win you a contest. It can also lose you a contest. So speaking of things that matter, this is the segment that matters, and it is the team selection for this contest. Let's get straight into it, Maxi, and we will start at the wicket keepers. The team is right here. We're selecting it on the run. Quinton de Kock at 71% selection at 8 crore. Devon Conway, 67% selection at 7.5 crore. MS Dhoni, the man, is in the runs at the moment, a little bit high up the order potentially, as you said, with a new look lineup. 32% selection at 7 crore. They're the main ones here. Who do you like in the wicketkeeper slot, Maxi?
There's a lot. There's a lot of really good options here as well. But I think the tough thing that we're seeing with these games in Chennai is it's not necessarily favouring the batters as much as we would like. As you said in your pitch preview, guys who can play a little bit more traditional, typically going to have a little bit more of an opportunity, which does lend me towards wanting to pick Quinton de Kock and also Devon Conway. But I'm getting a little bit interested in Dhoni. I think just because he's going to have that extra responsibility, he's going to thrive with that responsibility we'd expect. So what's his ownership at?
He's at 32%.
Yeah, I think we almost have to then, right? Just for the vibes, if not anything else. I'd love to take a punt on MS Dhoni and just hope that this is one of those games where those knees can hold out. He can come in maybe a little bit earlier and bash away and hit a few over the fence.
Ooh, okay, 32%. Look, I'll give you this one, mate. All 3 wicket keepers. You want them all in the team for now, do you?
I think let's go with Conway, who
Mm,
he's been scoring a little bit slower so far this tournament, but he did come up with a 50 in his first innings of the match, in his first game, sorry, for the tournament.
yeah.
So let's go Conway. Let's go with Dhoni, and let's go against Quinton de Kock for
All
now, which I
right.
know is going to be controversial because he's one of your favourites.
I do like Quinton de Kock. 97 not out earlier on in the tournament. Since then, though, he's only gone 1, 1, and 15. So, look, I understand it. And all right, we'll sack Quinton de Kock for now. I'm not happy about it. We might revisit this later on in the show, but Conway and Dhoni are in the team. Mate, in the batting ranks for us this week, Gaikwad is at 15% selection. So hopefully 15% of people listen to this podcast or watch it on YouTube because he won't be playing. So scrap that, guys. Rahane, he's at 85% selection at 8 crore. Ravindra, 84% selection at 8 crore. Dubé at 40% selection at 8 crore. Iyer, 64% selection, 8 crore. Singh at 19% selection, 7.5. And Raghavanshi, 27%, 7 crore. One of Simon Dool, one of Dooley's favourites there. So they're probably the key options here. Who do we like?
Yeah, look, Dooley's man for me is going to be a miss just because I prefer my batters to be a little bit higher in the order.
Mm.
The two that are immediately jumping out to me, the first one's pretty obvious. It's going to be Jinx Rahane. He's just playing fantastically well. He knows conditions. I think he's got the game for this stadium too. So I just think we have to lock in Rahane, despite his high ownership. I'm quite interested in Venki Iyer, and the reason is I think his form is trending in the right direction. He started the tournament a little bit slow, but in his last two hits, he's got a 60 and a 45, which to me says that he's in a little bit of form. I like his ownership as well at only 64%. So let's
Yeah.
chunk in Venki Iyer. Heaps of other good options. Look, I
I
know.
want bowlers, mate. I want bowlers and all rounders. Like on this venue, as I said, it's not one of these 200 plus decks that we've seen across the other venues at the IPL. I'm happy to go quite heavy and lean into a few of these. We mentioned a few that are coming up, but even if they are part-time bowlers at the moment, I'm happy to lean into a few extra bowlers and all-rounders. What do you think?
Yeah, so look, let's look in Aya and
Yep.
Rahane, and then let's talk all rounders.
Boom, boom, onto the all-rounders. Sunil Nareen, 89% selection at 9 crore, the top dollar there. Jadeja, 72% selection at 8.5 crore. Big Dre Rush, Andre Russell, 46% selection at 8 crore. Ashwin at 26% selection, 7.5 crore. They're the main hitters here, mate. Who do we like?
I think as much as I feel that there's an opportunity to go against Sunny Nareen because he hasn't really been taking wickets so far this tournament, I just love the bloke. I've loved him ever since he burst onto the scene with that unique mohawk and bowling action. And since the Melbourne Renegades turned him into an all-rounder, I think you just got to lock him in because he's going to do it in both facets. He could hurt you with a bat and he can hurt you with a ball as well. Especially at this ground, I think the conditions are really going to suit his spin. So let's lock in Sunny Nareen at 89% ownership.
Yeah.
Dre Russ is interesting me a little bit just based on those stats, and I feel that this is an opportunity to sort of go against the pack. Getting a guy like Dre Russ at under 50% ownership, it could make or break the performance of this team. I mentioned those bowling stats. He's not necessarily
Yeah.
getting a lot of opportunity, but he is making it count when he does. So if he is to trend in that right direction, then you could get a huge advantage on the pack. So how do you feel about locking in Dre Russ?
I like the Dre Russ play, mate, along with Nareen, as you said. I think he's a must-have in this team. And you never know. Dre Russ, he might pick up a few extra overs at some stage, and then all of a sudden he'd become a must-have. As it stands, only bowling a few overs here and there, he's still a decent enough pickup. So I'm with you, mate. Dre Russ comes into our team. We move on to the bowling lineup, and we have some spots to fill as well. So this is where it gets interesting. Chakravarti, 73% selection at 9 crore. Patharana, 35% selection at 8.5 crore. Noor Ahmed, our boy, only at 76% selection. That interests me.
Silly.
I thought he would be a lot higher. Silly. You know what? We're not even going to talk about him. He's in. Noor Ahmed. Rana, 47% selection at 8 crore. Ahmed, 67% selection at 8 crore. In some good form there as well. I know Dooley is a big fan of Ahmed. Aurora at 22% selection at 7 crore. Chowdhury, 5% selection at 6.5 crore. Spencer Johnson, 4% selection at 6.5 crore. Maxi, talk to us.
All right, so let's lock in our seventh player, which is Noor Ahmed, as you said. Khalil Ahmed bowling the right overs. He's bowling into power play. He's the second leading wicket taker with 10 wickets as well for his side. So let's lock him in. Chakravarti, I'm a sucker for him. I tipped him to be the leading wicket taker so far this tournament. Hasn't necessarily gone his way just yet, but he's just such a class player. I think, again, conditions will really suit him. So let's lock in another spinner to go with Sunny Nareen and Noor Ahmed. So how many players are we at now?
8. We've got 3 to go. I mean, we can always go back and add another batsman. We're probably going to have to be fair. So I reckon 2 more bowlers, and then we go back and find another batsman.
Yeah, cool. Okay. Where's your head leaning towards? Because
let's throw a bit of Aussie bias into this. A bloke that we absolutely love, unashamedly. What are our thoughts on Spencer Johnson for this one, mate?
Look, I love Spencer Johnson more than almost anyone else in my life. He's not taking wickets and he's being expensive at the moment. So I think he's getting a little bit of a tough initiation, and I'm a little bit worried that the firepower for CSK is at the top of their order. If they do go with Conway and Rachin at the top, he could get a hold of them. But 4% ownership, if it goes well for him, then you've got a real point of difference. But the question is going to be, is he still going to get picked? He's played 4 of their 5 games so far, but the performances so far will make people question if he's going to continue that job. So, if you want to take a risk, we could throw him in.
Oh, I want him, but I mean, as I said, 1 wicket in 4 games. He only bowled 2 overs a couple of games back, and that was when he went none for 14 as well. So, granted, didn't go the full allotment of overs. It's hard because you're just waiting for that breakout game, aren't you? And at this selection, what does your gut tell you? Does your gut tell you, no, cut this Aussie bias out, don't pick him? Or does your gut say 4% selection? Which one?
Yeah, I think the gut says, we're here to win it, right? We're not here for participation trophies. So we've found an interesting point of difference player, a pod, as we love to call them. So let's lock in Spencer Johnson, the man with
and we know what he
second
can
best
do,
hair.
Right? Yeah, we know what he can do. Again, I know it's very different conditions to Australian soil, but this bloke can take bags of wickets on his day when he's on. He's a terrific bowler. Things will click at some point. So, as you said, Maxie, we're here to win this thing. And Spencer Johnson at 4%, if he comes out and takes 5 for, look out. So, we'll put Spencer Johnson in. 1 more bowler, could also be an all-rounder, and then we'll go back and find another batsman. Who do we like? Do we like Patharani, Rana, Aurora? What are your thoughts?
I'm just looking at the names that I've got written down here that we've recorded. I've got Conway, Dhoni, that's 2. Venki Iyer, Jinx Rahane, which is 4. Sunny Nareen.
I've got to put Dhoni back in. Sorry, he was not out. So we need 1 more player.
Okay, so this is where it gets interesting because I think that there is potential to have a look at a guy like Vaibhav, who's just going to be pretty low ownership, or go with the more popular proven option of Ravi Jadeja. And as I mentioned, his bowling strike rate at the moment, a wicket every 39 deliveries, which doesn't necessarily scream pick me, despite his 72% ownership. But do we see that as an ongoing trend? Is that something which is going to change? It's a tough one. I think that there's enough people and he's got enough ability that he can hurt you if you don't get it right. So, how are you feeling about Ravi Jadeja as our final pick?
I love Jadeja, mate. And it's 72% selection. There's so much upside there. Again, if at any stage he bowls his 3rd or he bowls his 4 overs at the venue, batting sort of number 6, there should be opportunity there to get a bit of a hit as well. We know what he can do. So I like the Jadeja play. So let's lock him in and let's lock in our team. It is Conway, Dhoni, Rahane, Iyer, Nareen, Jadeja, Russell, Chakravarti, Ahmed, and Johnson. Now, mate, the all-important captaincy plays, and this is where it gets very interesting, and there's already someone that's caught my eye. Among the most popular, we've got Rahane at 20% captain, 12% vice captain. You have Nareen at 24% captain, 14% vice captain. They're the big 2, mate. Who do you like?
It's so hard to go against those two, isn't it? Because I like for my captains to always look at the way that I see that the game script is going to unfold. And for me, that's going to be a KKR victory, as much as I do love CSK. And it's going to be those two probably playing a really big hand in it. Jinx Rahane, he's going to be suited to the surface. He's scoring runs so far this tournament, and Noreen's just in the game. The only guy who I'd potentially look at, again, just another real heart pick for me, would be Noor Ahmed, just to see if there is a really sneaky way that he can carve through this KKR lineup, take a big bag of wickets. I'm not sure what his VC play would be, but maybe the VC on him and the C on Jinx. What do you think?
Well, I mean, yes, Ahmed. Ahmed's the one that I was thinking. Mate, he's the leading wicket taker of the tournament, gets conditions to suit in Chennai, 3% captain, 6.9% vice captain. So I like either of the plays on him. Rahane, he's in phenomenal form, but again, he goes to a bit of a tougher venue, a tougher deck for batters in this one. And if he gets a dark and everyone's flocked to him as captain, I see opportunity to go against Rahane personally.
Yeah, I mean, that's always the risk you take with batters. It's sort of like, it's a home run or you're caught at shortstop. So I'm happy to take your fantasy expertise into consideration there. So why don't we look at a combination of Noreen and Ahmed? How's that sound?
Yeah, let's do
Cool.
that. Who do we want? Do we want to go Noreen captain, Ahmed vice captain?
I think that makes me the most comfortable because you're just getting that game involvement from Noreen, which is just so hard to pass up because he'll get a second bite at the cherry no matter what he does through his batting and bowling.
Boom. We are locked in, Maxi Bryden. All right, guys, that will do for the Playbook 11, Dream 11 contest this week. We will be back again next week. Hopefully have Simon Dool, the great man, the new father, on board as well. But for now, that will do us. Maxi, thank you, mate.
You're welcome, Tim. Let's go, Dhoni.
Let's go, MS Dhoni. Cheers, guys. Thanks for tuning in and good luck.